So we are back once again. Sorry for the noise or for the audio. It's going to sound a little funky in this one. I just much about it. Anyway, Triple Wick Trickster, 4 mana, 2/3 elemental. Battlecry, deal 2 damage to a random enemy 3 times. So there's no reason to ever play this card in Wild. I keep saying this. I'll keep saying it until forever. Elemental Mage in Wild does not exist. This card is understated for an okay at best effect. It's just like, why do you print this? It should at least be like a 4/4 maybe, if you want to see it even play in Wild, but they just don't care. They don't care about making cards Wild power level, so you just have to pray that they do it on accident, which this card does not do that. So it sees absolutely no play in the format. Hidden Objects, 2 mana, discover a secret, set its cost to 1. So the issue with this card is secrets suck ass. There's a reason you don't play, random secret generation and Secret Mage. There's like 5 good secrets total. Explosive Trap, Explosive Runes, Counterspell, Ice Block, Flame Ward, Objection, and then Rig Fair Game. So that's 6. Yeah, there's 6 good secrets total, and there's like 30 secrets. Maybe not 30, but there's at least like 20. So it's pretty obvious why this card's going to be bad. It still costs the same amount as a secret does, 3 mana total, but yeah, if this maybe if it costs 0, this card would be like interesting, but as it stands, it's just a bad card. Galactic Projection Orb, 10 mana, arcane spell. Recast a random spell of each cost you've cast this game. Targets enemies if possible. I'm going to let you guys sit there for a second to think about why I'm going to be a little upset about this card. Okay, you got enough time? It recasts a random spell of each cost you've cast this game. 5 mana, it casts Time Warp. It's raw math that doesn't care about, being bounced as much, because it also will cast, face damage spells that you've played. Yeah, like, you're going to play this with raw math, of course, but this is just, ooh, man, this is a card. You definitely play this in Secret Mage. You can arguably not even run Potion of Illusions anymore, as long as you, play raw math, you get this, play this, then you have 10 mana and to do whatever. You just win the game that way. It's probably not how they're going to do it. You'll probably still run potions, things like that. I can't tell you exactly how Quest Mage is going to work with this card. It's going to go in the deck because it is another way to recast Time Warp. I saw some people talk about how you can go infinite with parrots again because this, will recast Potion of Illusion and Time Warp, so the parrots will recast this. Hopefully, that's not what happens, hopefully, but I can't really say. It's just this card will likely see play, and I'm going to be upset about it. Watercolor Artist, 4 mana, 4/4, elemental, battlecry, draw a frost spell. At the start of your turns, reduce its cost by 1. So, the wording is a little weird, but we have confirmation that, say you draw, Blizzard. The start of your next turn, it'll cost 5, and then your next turn, it'll cost 4, 3, 2, it'll go all the way down to 0 for every frost spell that you draw with this card. So, it's a little worse than, the Steam Guardian or whatever it's called in Warrior, where you draw a fire spell and reduce all fire spells by 1. It's worse than that card, but I don't know. You're probably not playing this card in Mage and Wild. It just doesn't actually do anything that you care about in the class, but it's still an interesting card. It has a really cool effect. It has a great signature. Look at this. That is amazing. Kind of sad that a card like this is just bad because it's actually a fun effect, but it is what it is. Sleet Skater, 5 mana, 3/4, elemental. Miniaturize. Battlecry, freeze an enemy minion, gain armor equal to its attack. Everyone, whenever a freeze card comes out in Mage, always, gets really cope. They're always like, oh, it's finally going to be time to play Freeze Mage with Flowcaster, and you get 0 mana, 5/5. But it just never happens, right? Soul Freeze is arguably the best freeze card ever printed, and that doesn't make the deck work. So why would you play this? Soul Freeze instantly makes your 6-drop cost 0, and this card doesn't. So this card sees no play. It's also just a shitty elemental. Mage doesn't like bad minions. Mage has way too many ultra high value spells to care about mediocre at best minions. So cards like this will never see play in the format, and it just sucks. And Blizzard just kind of refuses to understand that about the class. They don't have a fundamental understanding of what makes Mage Mage, and it's really obvious these last few years. Frost Lich Cross Stitch. 5 mana, deal 4 damage to a character. If it dies, summon a 3/6 water elemental that freezes. So, again, Frost spell. This is a pretty shit card. If this were 4 mana, I think it would actually be kind of playable, but there's just nowhere this card ever fits in. Like, it's supposed to be like an, you can play it in Elemental Mage, and it's like really high value for a card. You get the 3/6, and you get to deal 4 to a minion, but like, that doesn't matter. It's just mediocre at best. Sees absolutely no play whatsoever. YOGG in the box. 5 or 8 mana, Shadow Spell. Cast 5 random spells. If your deck has no minions, the spells cast cost 5 or more. This card might be playable in Casino Mage. Casino Mage already runs very few minions. Upgrading this with like Deck of Lunacy isn't the worst thing ever. It'll be a 10 mana spell. This is honestly fine. This is like a card that probably sees play in Casino Mage, like without question. The deck is mediocre, don't get me wrong. Casino Mage is not a good deck. However, it's fun. People like playing it, so I'm not going to be surprised with the cards he's playing in the deck. This card is definitely fun. That's all I can't say it's not a fun card. I cannot say that. I don't like random generation effects, but I like random effects. YOGG in the box, YOGG box, Rune of the Archmage, Astromancer Solarian, those are all really fun cards, but things like, Vast Wisdom, or Rewind, or I don't know, cards of that nature, those are the random generation cards that aren't fun, because they are actually good, and this card is bad. That's why it's fun. I'm starting with the second card in this little set here, because I want to save the last card for last. Okay. Spot the difference. 4 mana. Discover a 3-cost minion to summon. If your deck has no minions, repeat this. It's like an okay at best card. It's too slow for wild, but it's not an inherently bad card. If there were more like really powerful and no minion mage cards, you'd probably play this, because getting on average like 6/6 for 4 mana is pretty decent. 3 drops are relatively good overall. That's why Hidden Meaning is such a powerful card. That's why Wandering Monster is such a powerful card. Yeah, I don't really have anything too bad to say about this card. It's more just like Mage can't make this card work, rather than the card itself being bad. No Minion Mage was a pretty fun deck in Standard. Don't get me wrong, it was really overpowered, but it was always fun when it was playable. So I will probably play this card, but I don't know if it's going to be any good. And lastly, Manufacturing Error. 6 mana. Draw 3 cards. If your deck has no minions, they cost 3 less. This is Skull of Gul'dan. It's Skull of Gul'dan with a easier restriction than Outcast, because no minion mage is a deck that exists, and eventually it will be playable. The way that cards like this work is maybe not this expansion, maybe not next expansion, but eventually a really powerful card like this will slot into a deck. It happens all the time. It happens all the time. You had Spirit of the Frog. Spirit of the Frog was completely unplayable for years and years, and then Frog Shaman finally became good. It became really good with Drekthar, then it came, meh. And then eventually it became good again, Flash of Lightning, and it got nerfed, and it's still a playable deck, even though Frog got +2 mana on it. Crazy. But a card like this, it's 6 mana, draw 3, effectively cheat 3 mana. Eventually this card will be good. I like No Minion Mage as much as the next guy. I think it's like an okay deck to exist. So, and it fundamentally fits the theme of Mage, I'm going to be real. So I wouldn't be surprised if eventually this card's good. Right now, it's probably not making the cut anywhere, but like I'm saying, this is a future card. This card will eventually do things in the future. And cards like that are fine to exist, They suck. It sucks to see bad cards get printed but eventually they become good. Sometimes that just happens. Sorry for ranting a little bit. I'm really high on cough syrup. I'm sick. And tomorrow's Hunter Day, so I'm going in that depression spiral. Anyway, if you enjoyed, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Tell me what you think about these cards below. I think overall they're pretty cool. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace.